Welcome to the Vault XL. Thank you for joining me. Happy 4th of July to the viewing audience and those who are celebrating this day here in America. Let's get down to business. We're going to take a deep dive into both of these cases pertaining to Bryson Muir and his parents, Daniel and Kristin. And second topic will be Taylor Casey missing in the Bahamas. I'm going to bring you content from the Bahamas directly. They have issued a broadcast yesterday. I have subscribed to the channel. I advise you to do the same if you are interested in this case, to keep abreast of any information. Let's see how many times they put out information pertaining to her disappearance, okay? I've also come to learn that perhaps this woman, man, whichsoever, is transgender. We're going to take a deep dive into that. I'm also going to read you a post from the mother's Facebook page, which would allude to the fact that she was in the LGBTQ plus community. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the Vault XL. Daniel and Kristin Muir.
From the Fox 59 Newsroom.
Yeah, at the end of the day, we found Bryson, and that's who we want to find.
And Fox 59 continues our team coverage of breaking news this afternoon. A young boy considered missing for more than 2 weeks is now safe, and his parents, including a former Colts player, are in jail. Daniel and Kristin Muir walked out of the courtroom after a judge denied them bond during their initial hearing. Thanks for joining us here first at 4. I'm Nick McGill.
And I'm Max Lewis in for Aaliyah today. Fox 59 has team coverage on this story, from the charges that couple faces to our exclusive footage of this morning's raid, and to a look at the group behind that compound.
Yeah, we were going to begin in court here, though. Fox 59's Michael Van Scoy joins us now from the Cass County Courthouse after sitting in on that hearing. Michael, what can you tell us now?
Well, Nick and Max, we heard that Cass County Judge Stephen Kitts denied bond for former Indianapolis Colt Daniel Muir and his wife Kristin Muir. Now, the two of them facing multiple charges. The judge cited reasons for denying those charges as the pair being a potential flight risk. Now, this came as a surprise to Muir. You could see that he was visibly upset by this decision. You could audibly hear making remarks to his attorneys about this decision. Now, Muir and his wife, Kristin, are both charged with obstruction of justice. Daniel is also charged with domestic battery in this case. Now, defense attorneys say Kristin is a nursing mother and asked the judge for a possibility of a GPS monitoring system from the court. Judge Stephen Kitts said this decision to deny bond has been based on the couple's failure to comply with anything over the past 2 weeks. Daniel Muir's defense attorney did briefly speak to us on camera, telling us he's shocked by the judge's decision to deny bond.
Family, they've been improperly targeted, and they're not guilty of any abuse or illegal activity. They're entitled to their day in court and due process.
Yeah.
Now, in the last hour and a half, we also got a copy of the probable cause affidavit that mentions that DCS is investigating other potential claims of abuse within the family. Meanwhile, defense attorneys for the Muir family would not go into specific.
Let's go back to that information.
We got a copy of the probable cause affidavit that mentions that DCS is investigating other potential claims of abuse within the family.
Wow.
Meanwhile, defense attorneys for the Muir family would not go into specifics of this case. We also know that they'll be back in court on July 16th at 9 a.m. That's for another hearing where they'll discuss the couple's bond and a no contact order. For now in Cass County, Michael Van Scoy, Fox 59 News.
All right, Michael, thank you. And as we told you earlier, 14-year-old Bryson Muir was found safe during the police raid this morning.
Fox 59's Eric Graves was the only reporter on that scene during that raid at Muir's Logansport compound. He brings us more now from the Cass County Jail.
For the time being, Daniel and Kristin Muir will remain here in the Cass County Jail. They were brought here this morning after police raided their property in Logansport. We were the only station there to capture police as they conducted that search. This is video we shot exclusively Wednesday morning, showing state police covering one entrance to this remote, large Logansport property, marked with signs saying, "Welcome to Straightway Indiana Goshen," a religious group headquartered in Tennessee. Law enforcement had rifles at the ready as an armored IMPD SWAT vehicle sat inside the fence Multiple SWAT teams, K-9s, and a bomb squad began a raid of the homestead-like property with multiple homes this morning at 6 o'clock. Just minutes into the operation, law enforcement found Bryson Muir, teen missing since June 16th, safe.
And ultimately, after 3
K-9s and a bomb squad began a raid of the homestead-like property with multiple homes this morning at 6 o'clock. Just minutes into the operation, law enforcement found Bryson Muir, teen missing since June 16th, safe.
and ultimately after 3 weeks of reaching out, he was found, located. So definitely a win in our books.
We saw this IMPD SWAT vehicle leaving the property through the gate that appeared to be damaged after their entrance. An officer inside the vehicle coming over the loudspeaker to thank the people inside the property for their cooperation. ISB Sergeant Stephen Glass says a lot of planning went into the raid executed before the sun came up, especially since they didn't know how the Muirs and others on the property would react.
And there was some question whether or not they would be cooperative or not. However, it went smoothly for the most part.
The Muirs property is just off U.S. Highway 24 in Logansport. Bryson's parents, Daniel and Kristin Muir, left in handcuffs. They're pictured here in their mugshots, taken early this morning at the Cass County Jail. Former Colts player Daniel Muir is charged with obstruction of justice and domestic battery. State police said his second charge is from injuries Bryson's grandmother reported to police on June 16th. Kristin Muir is charged with obstruction of justice. As we reported, the Muir parents have had little communication with state police about their son, even backing out of a meeting last Friday, just before a silver alert was issued for the teen. The pair appeared in court today. We talked to Cass County prosecutor Noah Schaefer after the arrest.
Level 6 felonies carry potential penalty of up to 2.5 years in jail and fines as well.
As for what's next, the Muir parents were not granted bond on site of a flight risk. Bryson is now in DCS custody, but there could be more children DCS is looking into.
I do know that DCS has an open case that involves a number of juveniles.
Neighbors we talked to around the Muir's property did not want to go on camera this morning. One neighbor telling us she heard the helicopters overhead early on this morning, and when she turned on the news, she was not surprised to see what was happening. Another neighbor telling us through his doorbell that he wanted nothing to do with his neighbors. Reporting Logansport, I'm Eric Graves.
All right, Eric, thank you. Now, property records show that the compound police raided this morning is owned by a group called the Servant Leaders Foundation. The actual nature of that organization remains a mystery. Now, Max has been looking into this all day, and Max, it appears there is some connection between the foundation and 2 former Colts.
Yeah, that's right, Nick. Take a look at this property. It's huge, 120 plus acres made up of several parcels that were all purchased back in 2020 by either Daniel Muir, Bryson's father, or former Colts defensive end Robert Mathis. They spent close to $2 million on the property, and then in November of last year, each of those parcels was transferred over to what's called the Servant Leaders Foundation. Now, we couldn't find any registered business or nonprofit with that name. The foundation has some kind of connection with the Straight Away Ministries, which is a Tennessee-based religious group. According to its website, they believe in a life separated from mainstream society, and they advocate for a return to biblical law. There have been some accusations that the group is a cult. Now, it's led by Pastor Charles Dowell, who spoke out on the raid today and threatened to get revenge. Listen.
The blowback from a false allegation probably ain't going to be too good, especially when you have the backing of the ministry behind you. Because, see, right now, all this seems to be at the forefront, and everybody seems to be pointing fingers and laughing and jeering and all that little stuff. But you got to believe the straightway is not going to be taking any of this line down. We coming. You got to believe we coming.
See what he means by that. Dowell said the state police made a mountain out of a molehill with this investigation, but he gave no explanation as to why the Muirs didn't initially cooperate with the authorities. State police says the focus of its investigation was on Bryson and not the religious group. As for the Servant Leaders Foundation, which owns the Logansport property, we were able to track it back to a business in Kokomo. We're going to have that part of the story coming up at 5. Nick?
Kokomo. So what business is that in Kokomo? Thank you for joining me. They are definitely on this case. The news, as they should be. Thank you for joining me. Let me put in the link again for those who would like to join. The panel is open. Feel free to join into this discussion pertaining to both cases. 1 second, everybody. I don't know how long this live is going to go, so if you don't have any plans today, Feel free to join us. All right, everybody, let's get down to business. Oh, boy. Bryson Muir is currently in the state's custody. Parents' home property was raided the other morning. Obviously, this property has other outbuildings. They checked the other outbuildings' homes, found and no contact with the child. They will have a hearing on July 16th to discuss a bond and the no contact order. The judge issued the no bond and no contact order because he feels these two are flight risks, as he should. They had a date to bring the child forward to verify life, and they refused. And with all the hoopla pertaining to this organization, compound, however you want to word it, they didn't know who was going to be there, what they had, didn't have. So naturally, they exacted the raid. We hear that it was properly planned in advance. And like I said, they found the child within minutes. They don't know these people. They don't know who's all on the property. So naturally, they took the necessary precautions in raiding the property. They thanked the people for their cooperation, which is very weird. As I said before in my other live, you rarely hear that during a raid, before, during, and after. So they thanked the people. They took everyone in without incident. Blessings. That's a wonderful thing, not to have any casualties on either side. God is good. We hear that Mr. Muir, was speaking to his lawyer, obviously probably frustrated in court. No cameras, obviously. He threw his hand up while walking through the corridor like he's upset at the guards. Why are you upset with them, sir? They didn't put you in there. You put yourself in there. You hit your kid, probably been beating the boy up, and probably beating other children up as well. So what's the problem? The wife, she covered her face. Why are you covering your face? See, it's amazing the things that people do after they've been arrested and they're in jail. They're showing out in court or talking crazy or mumbling stuff under their breath and, spitting and foaming at the mouth. But you weren't doing all those things before you got arrested, which I find so interesting. But it's typical as well. Other children in the home. How many other children live in the house with the Muirs? How many wives live in that house? How many wives live in their own separate house unit? How many other people are on the property living in separate houses, trailers, sheds? How many children total live on the property? We also hear that there have been other allegations from CPS pertaining to something amiss with this family and children. Have they been beating children or doing anything inappropriate with children? We also hear that was the reason, obviously, for the abuse of Bryson by Mr. Muir. The child was doing something inappropriate. What was that exactly, Mr. Muir? What was he doing? Touching someone inappropriately, a child, a grown-up? Or are you just using that as an excuse to beat up your child? Because we know that when people go to court, they do not tell the truth. And you don't really have a good reason for beating up a child, whether the child was, touching someone sexually or whatever. There's no reason to beat up a child. What you should be doing is talking to the child and getting the child some therapy for whatever he was allegedly doing. I frankly don't believe a word of it. Bring me a receipt. And if the child was acting out in a sexual manner, he learned it from someone. And due to the fact that you have a lot of women in your fold and under your armpits, it's no telling what he has seen and what he has heard and what he has experienced. And when you have a lot of people trafficking around children, it is no surprise that there will be some sexual contact with children because we have sick individuals out here. So we've learned this with the straightway servant leadership, however you want to word it. It's a lot of people coming and going and being in contact with children. I've seen that with the straightway. Mr. Dow talking in his video about kids coming over to their house to get candy, the wife giving them candy, like it's Halloween every day. Come on with all that. But it shows that there's a lot of contact of different people going in and out of people's houses and dealing with one another. Investigation. Will there be investigations into everybody on the property? Any past histories of abuse, criminal records? Will we find out that some of these people have some criminal past? Will the ministry be investigated? Now, as you heard in this commentary, this is no reflection. The investigation into the Muirs has nothing to do with the organization per se. They're there. They went there to exact a warrant for the Muirs for abuse of the child, not Straightway or Servant Leaders Foundation. But will it play out in a different way down the road pertaining to these organizations? They have a July 16th hearing for no contact and a bond. The charges can lead up to 2.5 years incarceration. What I find disturbing is that there's no regard for the child, but that's expected due to the fact that the child was beat up, eyes swollen, okay? That's just common sense. You beat up a child, then you go to court and start making up stuff. Oh, the child was doing this, the child was doing that. So basically you're standing before a judge or ear whispering to your lawyer why you beat up a child. I find it disturbing listening to this lawyer saying they were improperly targeted. How are they improperly targeted? The grandmother went to meet the mother halfway to pick up the child. She sees that the child has been battered. What was she supposed to do, sir? Say nothing? We're thankful that he's alive. As I said before, it would be crazy to unalive the child. But if you're beating a child, that could happen. You're a grown man, bigger, stronger, beating up a kid. Now, from my understanding, the child sits at 6'2", 180 plus pounds. It's not to say the child couldn't defend himself if he's indeed that tall and carrying that amount of weight. But if you live in fear of retaliation and striking the person back, you will allow the person to beat you up, punch you. Does the child have behavior issues? Or is Mr. Daniel using this as deflection to why he beat up the child? He needed a reason and excuse for why he put his hands on the child. Very interesting information. Flight risk. Let's see. Someone has brought forward allegations against the Muirs, but they do not want to be specific in what those allegations are. Who are these people? One person, two, three? How many people has law enforcement talked to besides the grandmother? I'm assuming she's complying with law enforcement to give them any information pertaining to this child or any other children. As I said before, how many children live on the compound? How many children does Mr. David Muir have biologically with Miss Kristin and other women wives? I would assume she's probably one of the last wives he's accrued into the brood because she's 8 months pregnant. Who's going to take care of that child? I guess she wants to get out of jail so she can nurse her baby. She's currently nursing or was nursing before the arrest. Well, see, these are things you don't think about. While you're allowing someone to beat up a child, allegedly this is her child with him. Okay, well, the child is beat up, battered. You obviously allowed it. We don't know how many times he's put his hands on Bryson. And now here we go. You're nursing an 8-month-old at your age, late in life, but you don't care anything about this child being beat up. And yet you have the nerve to open your legs and have another child. It's very disturbing information. We hear that the neighbor, we talked to a neighbor who heard drones, helicopters, things flying above. The neighbor says he or she does not want to have anything to do with the Muir. Were there issues between the neighbors. We hear that they have 120 acres. 120 acres. Okay. Transferred the property valued at $2 million. Purchased in 2020. They have not found any nonprofit in relation to the Servant Leaders Foundation. So what is that all about? $2 million property, 120 acres, purchased in 2020. No info found pertaining to the Servants of Leaders Foundation, who is the owner of this said property, as being a nonprofit. So I believe it's fraud. That's my personal assessment pertaining to all of these properties. I believe they found a way to try to get out of being tax exempt. So they labeled the properties as, nonprofit, their churches, and you put a bunch of, structures on there to make it look like it's a church setting. But what you have are some sick people who are out here using and manipulating people to be a part of their nonsense. I was listening to Mr. Dow earlier before going live. You heard a brief synopsis of his YouTube video in this live stream here on this news broadcast. And as the news reporter has said, they're not targeting Straightway or the Servant Leaders Foundation, the police. They just went there to get the Muirs because of the abuse of the child. But basically, he's taking it personal. And when you watch the YouTube video, which I have shared to my community page, feel free to go watch it, he's deflecting the fact that the child's beat up. Mr. Dow, I have a problem with you. I have a problem with you. I have a problem with the Muirs. In none of your videos that you have uploaded recently pertaining to this debacle, you have never addressed Bryson by his name, which I find despicable. You never say prayers for the child. You never call him by his name. All you talk about are the Muirs, supporting them, and the news is sensationalizing the story. They're only putting out one story. Well, sir, you're an older person, 50 plus years old. You should have enough sense to know that's what the news, that's what they do. They repeat what the other news has said because that's all they got until somebody comes forward to talk to them, to tell them something else. That's standard news procedure. You don't want them to make up anything now, do you? But you still have a damn problem. And that you tell it, oh, it's all Straightway fault. I don't blame you for anything. I think you're a fraud. I think you're a delusional black man who needs self-validation, who needs attention, who's a loudmouth. And you're using this Straightway servant leadership BS as a way to attract gullible minds. That's what I think. I think you're a very insecure black person. That's what I think of you. So now everybody can stop saying white queen, say black and white, because that's what he is. He's a black man. He's an insecure black person. That's all this is about. You and those other people who started this nonsense. Your organization is tied to the Muirs, so you can't get mad at the news for mentioning Straightway. The property is in Straightway and the other organization's name. So why are you getting angry at that? Servant Leaders is on the document for the deed of the paperwork. Wasn't that the purpose of you putting it in that name? So now you're upset that the names are being mentioned in the news. That makes no sense. They have not accused you all of, to my knowledge, of the organization of doing something to the little boy. But they will ask, why would a person not ask if you all are involved in any way, have knowledge of abuse of children? That's common sense. Whether you're in Tennessee or you're in the same state of Indiana with the Muirs, that is expected. Now, naturally, you don't live where they live, so one wouldn't say that you're complicit. The point is, there's been a lot of negativity surrounding your commentary and the organizations. That's a you problem. That's not a us problem. That's not a news problem. See, that's what's amazing about people. You put this shit out here in the universe, negative. People start talking about what you're doing and what you're saying. Their synopsis of who you are and what you represent. And now you're mad at what you've put out in the world and the people's perception of it. Well, you don't have anybody to blame but yourself. As I said, you running your mouth on YouTube and Facebook, that's a personal decision. That has nothing to do with the news. That has nothing to do with the news. That has nothing to do with the regular people out here who are walking by in life minding their damn business. That is a you problem. You are a very loud, rude ass black man. I'm gonna keep saying it. You are insecure. And you are gathering folk who are gullible or of a like mind. How about that? So that has nothing to do with Bryson. That has nothing to do with Pookie, Ray Ray, CNN. That's a you problem. And your friend, your buddy, and his wife have abused and or stood by aiding the wife, whomever, the child, hurting the child. So if you want to get mad at someone, sir, you need to exact that anger towards the Muirs. They put their sales on Front Street. They put Straightway and the Leaders Foundation on Front Street. And yes, there are other people who have talked about you all in that circle of life, but a lot of us had no idea who you all were. I didn't know you from a can of paint. You, Straightway, the foundation, or the Muirs. But you have a friend who's beat up his kid, and the house is on the property under this organization's name, the foundation. So I'm trying to understand who the hell are you angry with? Well, thank you, Brooke. A lot of people get offended if I say white man, white lady, that white boy. Well, as you see, I said black man. So it's my commentary. I word it how I see fit. Calling somebody white is not derogatory. That is what you are. So you black, I call you black. That's the whole point why I tell people they don't follow my content. That is how I choose the word when I feel like it. And definitely when I'm heated and I'm talking about something corrupt, hell yeah, I'm going to say you are a black man. Because that is what you are. Mr. Dow, give it a rest. YouTube videos. You're sitting back making threats about what you're going to do. We're not going to stand for this. Nobody is suing you. Did someone hand you a piece of paper suing you? No. Have investigators come down there to ask you about the abuse of the child? Probably not. They may eventually, but you live in an entirely different state. So no one can tie you into abuse of this child unless there's something that you know. Or text messages, emails, where someone has admitted to beating up the child. So what is your problem? Your problem is like most narcissists. Your foot is caught in a trap. You're linked to these people, and now you want to blame game. It's all the media's fault. What you don't seem to understand because you're a bobblehead and you are very slow in your thought process. You talk as if you're a 5-year-old. The news only get information from either somebody that's a witness, somebody that's related, law enforcement. So any information put out about the Muirs came from law enforcement, you know, Berger, and the affidavits. So if you have a problem, once again, with the news, I say you take it up with your fucking friends. Because they're the ones who abused the child. They are the start of the problem. Then law enforcement got involved. So then you take the problem up with law enforcement. You don't like what's being said about the Muirs. Once again, take it up with the Muirs. Take it up with law enforcement. You don't like the wording in the news? Well, they got it from the fucking law enforcement. The allegations. So I'm trying to understand, how are you angry? Nowhere in the commentary did it say Straightway was arrested. Members of Straightway were arrested in conjunction to the abuse of the child. It says Daniel and Kristin. I only saw 2 people in orange jumpsuits. I didn't see any other members. They didn't destroy the property from my understanding. Just the gate to enter the property. They let the people know that they can contact the Indiana State Police for damages. They obviously appeared very cordial in their raid. We have not heard of anyone being hurt, abused, beat up, vandalized, nothing. You're the only one talking shit about 2 dirty motherfuckers that beat up a kid. And as I said before, if the child has been acting inappropriate, then the right thing to do would be to take the child in to get some type of therapy. And you sit up here on YouTube talking all this shit in your videos, sitting in front of that orange wall with all them damn guns and artillery when you have said nothing kind about the child. All you keep talking about is sensationalism. The news got it wrong. Somebody needs to apologize. Are they going to apologize when they get it wrong? Well, you see your friends got arrested. So obviously the news didn't get it wrong. Stop deflecting. Stop blaming other people for what your 2 friends did to their kid. This is a Muir problem. That's what this is about, sir. And Straightway is just a name you all gave yourselves and an organization. In the end, people make up Straightway and the foundation. Just like any structure. A building is just a building until you put people in it. Or a cat, a dog, a monkey, or a goat. That's the point. And you all are giving Straightway and the foundation a bad name because of your demeanor and how you carry yourselves. So if you want to blame somebody, blame yourself. Because as I said, you are a very outspoken, rude individual who is spewing lies and mixing up the Bible with your own thought process. And if you want to call yourself a Hebrew, Israelite, whatever, that is your choice. But the fact that you have many wives, you're introducing this into the congregation, and I guess expecting them to go get them some wives is idiotic. Because the last time I checked, when I read the Bible, I didn't hear that there were 5 Eves in heaven, or the Garden of Eden, or however you want to word it. And when God made Adam, since you like quoting stuff, he didn't say, guess what, Adam? From your rib cage, I'm going to bring 4 or 5 Eves out. And when he wrote who begat whom, he didn't name Eve, Susie, Mary, Shamiqua, LaShonda, Karen. So unless you read from a new Bible. And it don't matter about what you read in the Bible about Pookie Ray Ray had a bunch of wives in the Bible. The point is, that was man's doing. Acquiring wives, sir. Kings. Acquiring wives. Yeah. I'm not a Bible connoisseur, but somebody needs to school you. In the beginning, there was man, and then he made a woman from man. He did not make woman, infinity from Adam. That is what man decided to do on his own. So don't put God in that, because God don't have nothing to do with that. And if that's what you want to believe is right for you, that is your business. But you don't have any business spewing that out and trying to make other people believe that is the right and the truthful way, because it is not. So basically, you are not spewing out what's the truth from the Bible to the constituents. You're taking what you want from the Bible and exacting it in your own life as the truth, the way, and the light. And that is your choice. But you're still pimping the Bible because you're not telling the truth. God did not make several women from Adam. Man made that decision to take on wives. And as I said before, you're very disrespectful in your commentary because you refuse to own that these people beat up the child. Never once in your commentary, in these little YouTube shorts you keep making videos, have you ever said, now I don't condone them beating up that kid. You've never once acknowledged that they beat up the child. You just keep talking about the news. They ain't got it right. They ain't telling the truth. Well, blame your friends. Because your friends are the reason that they're in the news. And walking out of court, mad, throwing up your hand. Nobody gives a fuck about your friend throwing up his hand. He put himself there. And his wife, she's stupid too. Because more than likely, she has stood by watching him beat up a child. And they probably have been beating up other children. And all these stupid ass women have been standing around watching their children being abused by a Daniel and whomever. That's on them. And if the other women get their children taken, that's a personal problem. That has nothing to do with CNN, ABC, NBC, PBS. They chose that. So stop blaming the news. The news will have nothing to sensationalize if people stay their ass out of trouble. That's what comes with getting in trouble. Sensationalism. Yes, cheeky titles for videos, court TV, a lot of horrible titles. It is what it is. Biasness in reporting, it is what it is. Stay out of trouble, stay out of jail. And you're just exacerbating a situation, making it worse for your organizations because you won't stop talking shit on YouTube. So you're part of the problem as well. And as they say, karma is a bitch. You want people to stop talking about the foundation and straightway? You stop talking. How about that? Now, while you're at it, go pick up some of your little friends to go help clean up that property. Because what we saw in the videos, they got a lot of debris hanging around. Looks like they don't have enough people to clean up. Because guess what? Ain't nobody wanting to work for free. In the name of God. Or as you all say, Yah. Ain't nobody wanting to work for free, sir. Folks need money to eat and live. And don't nobody need you or Daniel giving them $50 or $100 to live off of. How about that? See, that right there is coercion and what people deem cult-like behavior. Orchestrating and mandating a person to walk and act a certain way. That's why I know that you all are very insecure men. And you have found a way to make yourself valid in the world by using and manipulating and mind control over gullible people. That's what you've been doing for years. And that other Rufus guy, I don't know much about him, but he's been a part of this nonsense as well. So I would say he's possibly the same. If not, I stand corrected. But nobody needs anyone orchestrating and telling them how to move, how to talk, how to deal with their wife, how to deal with their children. That's none of your damn business. So that's why I know this isn't about the Bible. This isn't about God, what you're doing. You need validation. So what I would advise to you, Mr. Dow, is to go find you a therapist and a hypnotist and a nice clean river, because you need to be dunked a couple of times for baptismal. And you need to repent because you've not been truthful to these people out here in the street. And those women, they're stupid as well. There's no way I'm going to live in a house with a bunch of other women making babies. And your wife, the original one, she's crazy as hell. Because there's no fucking way I'm going to sit up here and watch my husband, I've been with for years, take on other women. That's my commentary for the viewers. July 16th. They will get another hearing pertaining to no contact and a bond. Will they get a bond? I don't know. I don't know. Will they get a bond? Will they have a no contact order against the child and cannot speak or talk to the child, no supervised visits? Do you think that is right? Let's go to my community page and let's ask those questions, answer those questions. Thank you for joining me. New information pertaining to Sean Puffy Combs. There is now another civil lawsuit alleging him of sex trafficking. This is coming from a former dancer, adult, film entertainer, of coercion of alcohol, drugs, and passing her along to other male members. Okay, I'm looking for my content. I asked you all a day or so ago, will the state give the Muirs custody of Bryson? 9% yes, no, 82%, not sure, 9%. Where should Bryson Muir be? Home, 1%. Grandma, 69%. State's custody, 12%. Another family member, 10%. Not sure, 8%. Should the Muirs get custody of Bryson at some point? 4% yes, 84% no, not sure, 12%. What should the punishments be for Daniel and Kristin? As I was listening to this commentary, the charges they have can get them at least 2.5 years in penitentiary. 96% said jail for both. Jail for Daniel only, 3%. Probation only for both, 1%. So 96% of you out of 71 votes believe both of them should be in jail. Both are facing 2 felonies, a felony each of obstruction, and naturally, Mr. Muir has a battery charge, which I believe is a misdemeanor, which I don't understand how it could be a misdemeanor when you look at the way the child's face looks, but it's neither here nor there. What will happen July 16th? Will they get a bond out? See, they want to bond out because they need to be able to walk around and continue doing all this crazy nonsense with these organizations. He can't rule and regulate anything. He can't preach. He can't have church services in jail. Will they ask the church members for bond? Very interesting. Does he have money in the bank to bond himself out and his wife, Daniel Muir? We will wait to see. Next situation is pertaining to Casey. Miss Taylor Casey. A lot of crazy nonsense with this story here. As I said before, I have done a little bit of digging in the wee hour mornings pertaining to her Facebook page and information also from her mother's Facebook page, which is alluding to the fact that she is a transgender person. So I don't know if she's biologically female trying to be male or biologically male trying to be female. Take your pick. I'm not here to say. It's just things I gathered, very subtle things said on her Facebook page. And now with what has been said on her mother's page, it alludes to the fact that she lives a certain type of lifestyle. Let's hear from the ZNS network out of the Bahamas pertaining to the missing persons alert. Thank you for joining me.
Solo side of Chicago resident Taylor Casey, prompting local police to now turn to the public for help finding the 41-year-old. As widely reported, authorities of Ashram Yoga Retreat notified police the night of Thursday, June 20th, that Casey had failed to show up for classes. Since then, officers from the Paradise Island Police Station and the Marine Support Services have searched both command and scene using drones, the K9 unit, and AI system. This has led to the discovery of Casey's journal and cell phone. Police also disclosing that while other personal effects have been found since then, the American's passport is not one of them. National Security Minister, the Honorable Wayne Munro, last said the FBI was assisting the Bahamas Police Force, which assures that it's doing all it can to locate Casey and ensure a safe return home.
Hi there, I'm Bobo Piper. Thank you for watching.
ZNS Network, Bahamian News Broadcast. Sorry for their audio. Their audio is a bit grainy. You hear that they put out a search for her. No new information. But what's baffling is that her passport is missing. Where is Taylor's passport? Where is her passport? This is very strange. Her mother has gone there. I'm assuming she's collected her belongings, clothes, personal effects. But what was found as far as personal, such as handbag, carry-on bag? Did she carry a purse? Did she carry a crossover bag? What type of purse, bag did she carry? Number one. Wallet. Was there a wallet found? If so, what was in it? ID, credit cards, debit cards, cash app cards, things of that nature. Social security card. Did she have any of those things left behind? There are pictures floating that they took pertaining to the little tent she was in, which I was listening to that. And the first thing I thought, hey, I'm not into yoga and all of those type of things. Frankly, Queen is not traveling nowhere to sleep in no tent. That's just me. I'm not Taylor and I'm not the other people who went to this ashram, but I'm not sleeping on the floor. I'm not running through an airport, Chicago Airport, which is one of the busiest airports in America, O'Hare. I'm not running through an airport trying to check in, crawl my way through an airport to board a flight, transfer flights here, there, Florida, travel time in the Bahamas, walk down a long-ass pathway on a beach to sleep on the floor. That's me. But as I said, I'm not her. I'm not the other people there. Just my little humor. But just saying, that's not Queen. I'm not lying on the floor nowhere. What else is left behind? I'm curious. I've not heard anything from the mother that she had a driver's license, social security card, credit cards. So one is going to question, well, if those things were left behind, driver license, credit cards, why would the passport be missing? Okay. Why would the passport be missing? This is very baffling to me. Is this fraud? Some type of fraud? Some type of trafficking fraud? Somebody needs a passport. Let's find us an innocent person. Naturally, that's American, European, whatever. They have a passport. We knock them out and we sell the passport for money. Is that what this is about? Fraud. Where are her driver license? Mother, did you get a driver's license belonging to your child? Because something is off. Because that's what I would expect someone to say. Oh, yeah, the driver license is missing too. Why would just the passport be missing? You got to have, I'm assuming, a driver license as well as credentials, or am I wrong? You just need the passport because the passport has your picture. Well, you still got to find somebody to look like that person, or you're getting ready to cut out a picture of yourself and plaster it inside, which I'm sure people have done that. Got a passport with a name, all of that, and then they cut out a picture and paste it in there as their own. Is that what this is about? Trafficking people, hurting them for passports, identification. ABC7 is my next source. Thank you for joining me.
Tent where a Chicago woman was staying before she disappeared in the Bahamas. Inside of the tent, you see clothes, books, and other items belonging to Taylor Casey. She was in the Bahamas for a yoga retreat and was reported missing June 20th. Her mother is asking for the U.S. government to get involved in the case.
Watch breaking news on YouTube. Subscribe to ABC7.
So pictures have been released of the tent. The mother has talked about what was inside of the tent. Her clothes, Bible. You saw a bed in the tent. It looks like a lot of tents, stacked up beside one another on wooden planks. How many tents are in this area? Allegation that somebody heard the tent unzipping at 11:30 that night. But then once they talked to the person, the mother talked to the person, they heard it from somebody else. So that's all you're hearing is he said, she said. This mystery Hannah person, she hasn't come forward to talk to the mother. Allegation she went to a class at 4 o'clock. But where's the proof she was in the class? So are there cameras in the classrooms? Probably not. You always need cameras in case something goes wrong, such as this here, a human is missing. There's an altercation. You have to have cameras. You can't think because you're on an island, you don't need security cameras. That's bullshit. I don't care if it's an open cabana, however they got the open room set up for doing the yoga. You should always have security cameras. That's just common sense. Because anything can go bump in the night. And so far, we're at that stage. WRAL is my next source pertaining to Taylor Casey.
Plea for help from family and friends of a missing Chicago woman. Taylor Casey was reported missing in the Bahamas on June 20th after she did not show up for her yoga class. Since then, some of her personal belongings have been found. NBC's Maggie Vespa spoke with Taylor's mother, who says this has all been a nightmare.
I need them on the island to act like it's their child that's missing.
An American mom whose adult daughter disappeared from the Bahamas is sounding alarms and sharing photos of the tent where she says 41-year-old Taylor Casey was staying, showing her bed and Bible. The Chicago Youth Program Director vanished 2 weeks ago from the Shivananda Ashram Yoga Retreat on Paradise Island. Her family and friends traveling to the compound last week, now pleading with American authorities, including the FBI, to get involved.
The state of the investigation in the Bahamas right now, how would you characterize it?
Non-existent.
Casey's loved ones alleging Bahamian police mishandled the investigation, leaving that tent, a potential crime scene, open to the public and never distributing missing persons posters. They add police and staff at the retreat told them they'd initially alerted some guests, but not all, that a woman had disappeared and asked Casey's family not to approach guests, explaining,
they were on vacation and they wanted to respect their privacy.
The family fearing Casey may have been targeted, with the U.S. in January issuing a level 2 travel advisory to the Bahamas, warning of rising crime. Meanwhile, police there say their investigation has been thorough.
We used our drone technology. We used our K9. We've used our divers.
Authorities in the Bahamas telling NBC News investigators found Casey's phone in the ocean, but that her passport is still missing. The yoga retreat saying in a statement, we did our best to provide Casey's family with support, meeting with them along with the police and U.S. Embassy representatives on 2 occasions, adding they're providing guests with regular updates about the disappearance, and guests were encouraged to speak freely when Casey's family visited. That family growing more desperate by the day.
What do you think happened to your daughter?
I have no idea. That's what I'm trying to find out. Please, please, people, help me find my child.
That was Maggie Vespa reporting. A State Department spokesperson says it has been closely working with Bahamian officials on the case. The FBI had no comment.
So no comment from the FBI. State Department working closely with the family and Bahamian, Royal Bahamian Police Department. The panel is open. If you have commentary pertaining to both subject matters of the Muirs being arrested, no contact with her son, no bond, July 16th hearing, and also Taylor Casey. I will now read you information from the mother's Facebook page pertaining to my title in this live stream. Thank you for joining. If you'd like to donate to this network, $Angie, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Thank you for your time. Happy 4th of July to the viewing audience. This was posted an hour ago from the mother's Facebook page. This is how Taylor's close friends from the LBGTQ have rallied around Taylor's family and loved on us. They sent me to the Bahamas. I did not have to spend a dime and sent a team of spokespersons with me. I praise God for them. Many others have, but I have never felt love quite like this from anyone besides my Jesus. Thank you all, and we definitely feel your love for Taylor. I also want to thank everyone else who has prayed, supported, called, texted, and donated to the cause of finding our beloved one, Taylor Casey. We appreciate everything you all have done for us. We love you. God bless. Also, I want to send a special thanks to my family, friends, the Ingalls crew, Landmark crew, and Renata's crew, news reporters, etc. If I have forgotten anything or anyone, please forgive me. I am just quite not myself these days, but you know who you are. Crying emojis, heart emojis, kiss emojis. God bless you, Taylor's mom. So there are pictures of flowers, cards, and things, food set out that people have, I guess, donated to Miss Colette. Many people, sending their prayers to the mom pertaining to the disappearance of her child. Now, I made a video early in the morning asking if the identity of this woman could be the cause of her disappearance. I made sure to do my homework before assuming anything. I decided to make that video and this video today from people making comments under videos that she is a man. I had made some commentary in replies that, why are you saying that she's a man? Because, yes, I did notice she looked rather masculine, but never once in my commentary in talking about this subject matter did I ever identify her as a man, looking masculine, or being a trans person. So that got me to digging, because I said to myself, okay, I'm reading 3-4 comments or so, people calling her a man. People agree. So as I go through her page, there are just a lot of things that allude to me that she was in transformation from a year or so ago, 2023. Just a lot of things with butterflies, just odd looking memes. One post from April 7, 2023. It's a man, like he's sitting at smoke, naked with his hand out, a blonde type wig and makeup. So the first thing I said to myself, a straight person, I don't think, would have this as their profile picture. And she did that often. She uploaded different profile pictures from day to day, okay? So that was something that struck me strange. Most people don't upload a different profile picture every other day. They just don't. But she does, or she did. And this is from 2023, last spring. So as I said, you have a masculine-looking man in the photograph who obviously is painted with makeup, flat-chested, and sitting in the clouds, basically naked. Smoke, clouds, whatever. So that's what got me to thinking, why would someone post this as a profile picture and they're a woman? Why would a woman post this animated picture of a man in a blonde wig, naked, sitting in the clouds? Okay. So then she, on the same day, uploads another picture of that same person sitting in a chair. The person now has wings. And you can definitely tell it's a man's body. The fingers long, masculine body sculpted, but his face is painted with makeup with the blonde hair. But in this picture, he has wings, or some type of artwork. Just a lot of weird postings. Her attire is button-up shirts, which you see a lot of men wearing those type of shirts, button-up shirts. Very plain, oversized sweaters, pants. But when I go back and look at a picture of her, there's one where she looks like, as I said, she's a red, like tank top blouse on, where it looks like she's got a little bit of boobs, hair long. She looks very feminine. So it's like a switch from that picture to how she dresses and looks now. Very, very interesting. Although she wears lipstick, she still wears a lot of masculine clothes, as I said, that are button-up shirts that you would ideally see on men. There are some women who wear button-up shirts, but it's just very rare to see that as a main attire for a female. But once again, everyone's entitled to dress as he or she sees fit. Then she's standing in front of a picture, June 7, 2022. Some type of artwork on a brick wall. And it looks like it could be a masculine man with the strong jawlines, hair dark, long, and makeup. A lot of artwork. A picture from 2020 where she's standing in the crowd and obviously she's at some type of rally or something and someone makes a comment. You can tell maybe she has a little makeup on her face. Her mom says, this looks just like me when I was younger. And Casey replies, like mother, like child. So the Sergio person replies, wait, is that you? Because if it is, I absolutely love the hair choice. Not that my opinion or approval is ever needed, asked, or requested. Kissy emoji and a LGBTQ flag. Okay. So Casey replies, yes, baby, it was a couple of years ago. Thank you for the compliment. Then the person replies back, never saw pics of that. Look, I live. Okay. And then Casey replies, you always live for my girlier looks, tongue out emoji. Then the person replies back, it's true. I do live for the fish, but you are a beautiful soul no matter what. So then she replies, thanks, baby. And then they go on to talk about drinking, things like that. Then she's thanking everybody for the compliments. And she says, now I'm wanting some braids. So there you have it. She had different looks at one point. That was 2020. This conversation, or a couple years ago, 21 or so. So in the picture, she's standing with a group of people. There's cameras, like news cameras out or something. I don't know, she must have been at a rally or something. And she had long hair, braids, face painted with makeup. You can see it looked like she had on foundation. And then you have this person complimenting her on that photograph, you know, basically saying they hadn't seen that photograph. And then he compliments it and replies by saying, it's true. I do live for the fish, which I'm assuming that means female. But you are a beautiful soul no matter what. And I'll leave it there. If indeed Taylor is a guy emulating a female, or vice versa, however you want to word it, could this be the reason that she is currently missing in the Bahamas? Because who's to say that if she is pretending to be a female or representing herself as a female and met someone, maybe went to a restaurant, dined, whatever, did not tell the person that she was that way, and let's say they went somewhere else to partake in grown folks' activities, the person became upset, disgusted, and hurt her. I don't know. The only thing about that would seem off is the fact that her phone was found in the water allegedly near the ashram. So that means the person would have had to get rid of her wherever they got rid of her and then go all the way back near to the ashram to take her phone and throw it in the water. And to me, that would be a lot of backtracking, in my opinion. But we have heard of people doing a lot of crazy things when they're doing wrong. Is this a trans 41-year-old person, Taylor Casey, man or woman? Mother, Ms. Collette, have you told law enforcement that your child identifies as a different sex, whichever sex that is? Have you told law enforcement, the Royal Bahamian Police, have you told them that your child is either a man emulating a woman or a woman emulating a man, however you want to work it, because I don't know which one she's biological. I'm going to assume it's a man immolating a female. Have you told them your child is trans? That's the point. If not, don't you think you might want to tell them, because it could be relevant if indeed this is a case of foul play? Could it be that Taylor, as I said in my earlier live, went to the islands to find herself? She's still in transformation, still having possible some identity issues, crisis, but she didn't alert anyone, and maybe somehow became frustrated on the trip and unalived herself. I don't know. Just throwing that out there. Did she have words with somebody? People turned on her at this retreat and took her out to the water, weighted her down. What happened? Or, as I said, went somewhere else for dinner, drinks, something jumped off, and she was unalived, discarded somewhere on the island, and then they came back and set the scene of throwing the phone in the water and taking the passport. I'm not sure. Is someone involved from the retreat? Does Hannah know more than what she's told to authorities? Has authorities done a thorough job in investigating the ashram, the guests, the staff, the nearby hotel, the beach area? Could it be she walked away from her life? She's, as I said, in some type of, in her feelings about her life, her identity, and is frustrated, mad at the world, unhappy, sad, depressed, and she just got up and walked away and took her passport. I don't know. Did she meet someone who could have harmed her? The actual date that she was supposed to be in class at 4 o'clock, is that true? Has the staff been truthful about that class date and what they know about her disappearance? What is the truth to 41-year-old Taylor Casey? And as I said, this issue with her identity, is it a cause for motive for someone to harm her? That is my question. Two-part live. Thank you for joining me. Happy 4th of July to the viewing audience, if you do indeed celebrate this day. The panel is open. Make this live count. You have something you'd like to say? Feel free to join the panel. If not, I will check out of here. I'm not going to hold everybody. It is a holiday. But I wanted to bring this information because I think the truth needs to be revealed, because anything about a person, whether you feel like it's private, it's their business, well, it's not. Once you become a missing person, whatever the motivation for the person being missing, gone missing, everything about you is relevant. Whether you want that information released or not, family, friends, it's not really your choice, because there should be no secrets when a person is missing, because whatever the person had going on, whether it's they're trans, they've had altercations with people, they were being sued by somebody, or they were suing someone, or they're a witness to a crime, they're called to go to court to testify, they go missing. That is very important information, because that might be the reason that they're missing. So there's no need in trying to hide anything that was going on with that person. If they were known to get in trouble with the law, drugs, drinking, that needs to be known. Prostitution, human trafficking, past addictions, all that needs to be told. Because the one thing you do not want, since people love crying about sensationalism with the news, you don't want that coming out after the fact. So far, I haven't seen one news report identifying her as trans or whatever. But eventually somebody's going to get wind that she is. And with the mother's post, friends from the LGBT community sending her all these gifts, things, paying for the trip, you've now put that out into the universe, and now somebody's going to come to you and ask you directly, Ms. Collect, is your child a trans person? What are you going to say? Are you going to tell them the truth? Because I think you need to go ahead and tell people of her lifestyle. And I think I would have told that day one. That way, people don't feel like you're hiding something, because now people are going to start to speculate once that gets out. Oh, well, she's trans. It could be this. It could be this. And that's what people do. They speculate. It's a human nature. It's human nature. You know, everything's about how you word it. I've tried to be very respectful in bringing this information. But I decided to do these lives because of certain people's commentary pertaining to her identity. And when it mostly was men saying it, oh, that's a man, that's a man, that's a man. So usually you would think if it's a trans person, a woman would catch on first and say, oh, yeah, that's a guy dressed like a woman, you know, blah, blah, blah. Most of these comments are coming from men saying, hey, you need to be looking for a guy. Hey, you need to be looking for a man. Those are the comments I've been seeing under the videos. That's a man. You need to be looking for a man. So that's what made me get up in the late morning. My spirit said, Queen, just make the video. Just be diplomatic in how you word the commentary as not to seem accusatory or biased. So I hope I've done a good job in not being accusatory of her identity. But I do believe it needs to be addressed, because this could be the motive for why she's missing. She's upset. She could be angry. She could be depressed. She could have walked off. She could have unalived herself. Or she met foul play in her representation. Somebody became offended. Somebody thought it was a girl. And then somebody pulled their clothes off and realized, oh, hell, this is a guy. And then one thing led to another. Thank you. That's my commentary pertaining to Taylor Casey. Where is her passport? Who has the passport? Because I doubt you could throw her passport away. For what? Don't you need it to go back home? Of course you do, if your intention is to go back. Could it be she walked away from her life? That's why I need to know if her identification was found. Because here in America, you need a driver's license in order to board a flight. That is what will be asked of you with your flight itinerary, is a driver's license. You have to have a legal ID. And now here in the state of Tennessee, there has to be a certain little seal on your driver license. It's a new driver license, which I've got mine renewed recently. It has a little seal on it to show it is a valid state ID and driver's license. And you're going to need it in the next, I think, year or so in order to fly commercial, domestic, so on and so forth. So therefore, it makes no sense that I'm not hearing anything about her driver's license. Mom, did you see her driver's license? Do you have custody of her driver's license? Also, her journal is in the custody of the Royal Bahamian Police. What does her journal reveal? Anything alluding to suicide, being upset about something, not feeling good about herself, somebody she met on the trip, something that may have been said to her out of the way, something she may have said to somebody. What is in her journal? Because that is also relevant. And we have learned in a lot of true crime cases, especially when people were unalive, we learned things about them that possibly people had no idea was going on in their life. That's the purpose of having a journal, is to write down your thoughts, how you feel. So what was in her journal? And I pray that everything in that journal, nothing has been removed, taken out, and or fabricated by somebody else, because we do have sick people who will put things in a journal as to cover up a crime such as murder. I pray that this is not a case of foul play, but then let's look at the logistics of if this is a case of a person walking away from his or her existence or playing possum. People will be very angry. All entities involved. Okay? Family, friends, people at the retreat, which I don't think they give a damn anyway. But the police, because they'll feel like we've wasted resources in looking for a person that willingly walked away from their life. And yes, you do have the option to walk away, to vacate the premises, to remove yourself from the company of others, contacts. But why not just tell people? Right now, I want to be alone. I do not want to talk. I do not want to coincide at the moment. Please respect my wishes. When I'm ready to resume contact with you, I will let you know. And it is up to that person to decide if they want to accept this and or reciprocate when the person comes back around. Everything's a choice. So what are our options pertaining to the disappearance of Taylor Casey? Number one, she walked away from her life deliberately. She's exacting a hoax and or having some mental issues breakdown. Number one. Number two, she has met with foul play on the island, either at the ashram on the beach or at a neighboring hotel, resort, or function, restaurant. Jealousy. Someone didn't like something she said or did while at the ashram. And foul play was exacted at the ashram, on the beach, patron, staff, or stranger. Or this is some type of fraud pertaining to identification. Someone watched her, realized where she was from. She met the criteria for unaliving. And they unalived her and took her personal effects to use for fraud, such as selling the passport, because you do have people who are on the run, they are breaking the law, and they need a passport to travel to and fro. So could this be a fraudulent human trafficking type, I don't know, espionage type nonsense? Somebody needed ID. She fit the criteria, let's say, and they unalived her. Is this racial and or gender bias? Someone realized she is a man representing herself as a female, and they decided to play a dirty game. Invite her out to eat, talk, conversate, walk on the beach to hurt, harm her, unalive her. The situation that's baffling is the obvious. If she was unalive near the ashram, you don't have any options of disposal except for on the beach, in an outbuilding, and the ocean. And you would have to take her out either by yourself or with help and drag her out into the water deep enough to hold her down. But that means you would have to also, not to be disrespectful, weight her down with an object. And where would you get that from on an island? To tie and weight her down so she doesn't float back up. So now you got to ask, did she get on a boat with some people? There was an altercation. It was a deliberate move to take her out on the boat and dump her. And then you have to ask yourself, why would you do that? Would it be, as I just said, for the identification, the passport? Where is Taylor Casey? And what is the truth to her disappearance? Who holds the key to her disappearance? Is this foul play by someone on the island, staff, deliberate biasness of her gender, her race, because she's also black, or she walked away from her life, or she unalived herself? Those are the options. I want to thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful holiday. Stay cool, hydrated, be aware of fireworks, and imbibing. Get a designated driver if you decide to drink today, tonight, or currently drinking. Be aware of your surroundings, and please stay in a cool place as not to have a heat stroke or pass out. Thank you for following this network. Welcome all new subs, viewers. I thank you for your patronage. And once again, this is no disrespect to Taylor Casey and her mom. I want to make that clear during this live stream. But I felt like it was only right to address the comments in videos, because eventually somebody was going to come in chat and mention it, and or somebody was going to eventually put it in a news broadcast that this is possibly a trans person and this could be the motive for disappearance, either by foul play or on her own. Like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below this video, take the polls on my community page, and also check out my shorts, which I will be uploading a few shorts after this live stream. New information pertaining to Sean Puffy Combs. There is a new human trafficking allegation against him. Where this allegation is a problem is that the person was in his company for 3 years. So people are going to find it strange, Miss Lady, that you kept going around Sean knowing that he was allegedly forcing you to drink alcohol, take drugs, as this lawyer said in this commentary that I listened to, it was a choice to go around him and take drugs and get high. Exactly. Because once you took the drugs, that's a choice. Forcing you to drink alcohol, no one can force you to drink when you're an adult. And if you thought you had a drink that was laced, you said you all had forced, he was forcing you to drink certain bottles. At some point, you should have known, okay, something's not right. If you felt like you were sexually assaulted, then it would have made no sense to go back in the company of Sean as an employer, friend, guest, hanger-oner, whatever. It makes no sense. Not for 3 years. If you'd like to donate to this great network, once again, $McAngie, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Thank you for your time. This is my set content. Muir's in custody, no contact, no bond. July 16th, next hearing to determine if they will have contact with their son, Bryson, who is currently in the state's care, and if they will get a bond or have visits with the child. Should they have visits and custody, please take the post. Taylor Casey, still missing in the Bahamas. Mother has returned back to Chicago. The state is now involved in the search for her and also the FBI, but they have declined comments. Have a wonderful weekend. You have been listening to the Vault Excel. Thank you.